Hello, everybody. It's Fiona Lukis here, and welcome to today's Friday Live Q&A. It is Friday, November 11th, 2022, and I know the times have changed for some of you. I know that in the US and Canada, you've gone back an hour, so this live will actually end up being a little bit earlier than what you're used to, and I'm still trying to work out which is the best time for everyone. It may end up being 12:30, which ends up being 5:30 p.m. Pacific and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, so on a Thursday. So I'm just playing around with times at the moment because I think as everybody goes into daylight savings, this is probably a little bit early for you guys in the Pacific area. So I may change again next week, but welcome to you if you're just joining the live chat today. And as always, feel free to say hi and let me know where you're listening from and where you are in the world. Like I said, I think the times might confuse some of you this week because I know the US and Canada have gone back an hour. But if you happen to see this, jump in and say hi. I've got a couple of questions I'm going to answer for you today. I won't be able to be live for as long as I've got a client session I've got to get to, but I wanted to make sure I jumped in and said hello to you guys and answered the questions that have come through this week. So if you are tuning in, feel free to say hi and let me know where you're listening from. I'm actually about to go away for the weekend, so I'm going away this afternoon. So very excited to have a bit of time out and go camping and unplug. So I'll be doing that later on this afternoon, going to a beautiful part of the world called Wilson's Prom, which is a absolutely breathtakingly beautiful part of where I live. Well, it's a few hours away from where I live, but absolutely amazingly beautiful. It's quite spiritual. You just go there and feel like everything just is like, I just love that feeling. So I'm enjoying doing that because I know that also gives me the opportunity to reflect and refresh and, see what's new and fresh for me around what I teach and do and connect with my husband and all those wonderful things that are very good for the soul. So hi, Steve. Thank you for saying hi. You're in Ontario, Canada. Okay, I bet it's getting pretty cold there right now, Steve, huh? I've got some clients in Smithers. I have no idea how close that is to Ontario, I'm sorry, but they were telling me it's about to get to minus 22, which I can't even get my head around. It's incomprehensible to me that people can even exist for extended periods of time in minus 22 degrees Celsius, that is, conditions. Blows my mind. Anyway, welcome, Steve. And hey, Wendy, nice to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Anybody else who's just tuning in, I can see a few people joining in now. Please say hi. Let me know where you are. And love to hear where people are listening from. I find it always so fascinating. Now, whilst I'm doing that, if anybody has a question, post it in the comments below. If there's anything that you want some clarification around or anything you're stuck on, anything at all, ask it below because I absolutely can assure you your question will be very, very helpful to many other people listening in. Okay, so I'm going to go to the first question that I've got here. Hi, Fiona. I'm struggling with an issue with my partner. We are a blended family of 4 children. Last year, I allowed my partner to take just his son to the professional basketball games on his own. I wanted me and my 2 older boys to go too, but was too scared to say this to my partner as I knew he'd shut it down. So I said nothing. This year, I do want us all to go, and I've said so. My partner does not want this. He wants to be able to do this on his own with his son like he did last year. He does not want to take turns. I feel this is unfair. My boys already feel like his son gets preferential treatment. Plus, they suffer low self-esteem. I do not want them to be left out. The next game isn't far away. How do we resolve this? I don't want to back down and set another precedent. Okay, interesting question. Very interesting question. Let that sit with me for a second because it's the first time I've seen that question. I know you're in Boston, Wendy, and it's cold there, right? It's cold in Boston in winter. It's getting. You guys are all snowy Colorado. Yeah. Hello. Hi, Gail. Hello from the Gold Coast. Nice and warm and sunny in the Gold Coast, isn't it? It's very humid here in Melbourne today, actually, even though it's a bit overcast. So we're definitely moving into the other end of that weather. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this question because I would imagine that this is something that comes up for a lot of people. I do work with a lot of blended families, and this kind of thing is very, very common. I think the thing that is important to remember, okay, when it looks like you are on opposite sides, you have a problem. Okay? This isn't about sides. It's so important to realize this, guys. It's not about sides. It's not about they're on this side, I'm on this side. Um, when we see things like that, we see things from, we tend to get ourselves into a rigid battleground. Okay? So whenever it looks like you're on opposite sides of something, you feel very disconnected. It always looks unfair. Okay, because this side has very entrenched thinking about the way they see reality, and this side has very entrenched thinking about the way they see reality. It's not that either one is right or wrong or better than another. Okay, you got to understand we all look at things through the lens of separate realities, and it's not that there is one reality in the world. This is such an important thing for people to get their head around. Okay, realities are one of those things that there are infinite realities in the world. And the minute we think our reality is better than somebody else's, we put ourselves in that place, and listen to my language, we put ourselves in that place of feeling like we are now on an opposite side. You got to understand that opposite sides are an illusion. They're an illusion. The only thing that's missing is understanding. When there is enough understanding, there is no side to anything. There is no, this is their side, this is mine. There's just understanding, okay, and connection and appreciation of where someone else is, and then a decision for you to make on how you want to be around that. But there isn't sides. But so I really want to know that, like, I'm listening to this question and I'm reading it out, and I can hear this person seeing themselves as being on opposite sides. Okay. And they absolutely feel that their side is more correct and right. And I'm not going to pass an opinion on that because that's got nothing to do with it. I just want you to see, when we think that we're more correct than another person, we can get very, very stuck, and it's harder for us to see something. Because if I was to play devil's advocate here, all right, because I'm neutral. If I was to play devil's advocate, I could say, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate, so don't shoot me down here. I'm not passing an opinion. But I could say, what does it matter if your partner wants to take his son and have some one-on-one time with his son to the basketball game? What does it matter if he does that? If that's really important to him and that's how he likes to do things, what does it matter if he has that one-on-one time and that's just something that's important to him, and he wants to be able to have that time with his son because that's where they can connect, and he doesn't want to share that time with anyone? Like, I can understand it. Again, I'm not passing an opinion, but in looking at it through a neutral place, not looking at it through the lens of my own busy, sped up mind and my own opinion and my own reality, I can understand that. All right, that makes sense. I can also appreciate the fact that you want the family to go together, and you want this to be a family event. And it looks like your partner wants it to be an opportunity for him to connect with his son. Now, I can tell you, when it comes to navigating blended families, okay, you've got to be able to dance between those two things, because here's the reality, right? And I've worked with a lot of blended families. The person that is, maybe seeing their child less than another, or they're in, maybe their child has, they feel guilty when their child is not with them, and they miss them and they want them with them. They want to make sure that when their child is around them, that they have this really amazing experience, because they're trying to make up for lost time in the back of their mind, whether they're even consciously aware of it or not. They've also got a bit of guilt around the situation. And so in their mind, they want to make up for that. They want that quality one-on-one time, because they're feeling like they're missing stuff, right? And so in their mind, that really matters to them. That's all they can see. And they are looking for ways in which to do that. And maybe their son really, really loves basketball, and this is just this beautiful one-on-one space where they can really just spend time together. And so from his mind, having that precious one-on-one time is super, super important, okay? Because maybe in his mind, it's the only way he can really, really have that father and son one-on-one time and really connect with his son. And so that means the world to him. See, when you look at things through the lens of understanding, so what do I mean by that? Showing up from a place of curiosity. It's like, okay, for example, I really want our kids to go, my children to go as well. And your partner saying, no, I just want this between my son and I. You've got to get really curious. You've got to get really curious. You can't do it when you're charged. You get really curious and you say, okay, how come this matters to you so much? What tell me a bit more about that. Is that because, it's the only time that you and, whatever their son's name is, can connect? Like, what is it that's so special to you about the basketball? See how I'm trying to understand someone else's reality rather than deciding, no, you're wrong. My reality is better and you need to understand. It's not that you are or are not setting a precedent here. This is not about precedents, okay? Listen to the language. That creates more sides and division. You don't want to come from a place of division. You want to come from a place of understanding. See, when you understand enough, you can explain to your own children. And again, I'm not passing an opinion. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Hey, look, this is, and I don't know what your partner or son's name is, so I'm going to make it up. This is really important for John and Ben. Okay, because they really want to have that one-on-one time. I know that matters to you, and we'll organize some one-on-one time with you and John in a different way. But this really matters to them, and I've got to respect and understand that it's got nothing to do with the fact that your sons don't matter or they're less important. See, that's something you're deciding is what's the case. It's a matter of, this is just what I really want to have this opportunity to connect with my son. So you want to see where we put meaning on things that isn't there. And so it's just like, okay, well, how can we create that experience where, my boys, and maybe that's when, John's son is with his mum or whatever, where my boys can have that experience with you. Is it possible that we can create that some other way? And you might very well find, okay, that your partner is like, yeah, of course, I'm more than happy to do that. But I really want to have this experience with my son. I'm more than happy to create a different type of experience with the boys, okay, where they can get a sense of me and some one-on-one time, and then we will obviously have shared experiences as a family. But you have to, it's very important to listen and come from a place of understanding. If something really, really matters to someone, okay, if it really, really matters to him to have that one-on-one time with his son, then this is how we navigate blended families. And it's about appreciating and understanding, okay, I can see this really matters to you. No worries. Let's create something else where my boys feel that with you. Is that possible? And so how do you think we could do that? And maybe that's through taking them to the football or taking them to something else, the movies, or I've got no idea, right? But you've got to be able to be open-minded rather than pushing your agenda. The minute we do that with each other, no, I don't like that, I want you to do it my way, you create division, and that's where the illusionary sides start to develop. I'm on this side and you're on this, and I'm not going to budge because you need to see things my way. The minute we get into that kind of rapport, you are going to blow up, you are going to destroy goodwill, you're going to push it to the floor, and you're going to get very positional. You cannot resolve anything from a place of positional. You just can't. You just create more and more and more of a gap. And you've got to understand, when you create more and more of a gap, people get very lost in their thinking. They become less emotionally intelligent and they just bunker down. All right. And then we start making all sorts of things up about that. Oh, you don't care enough about my kids. My kids don't matter. And you don't listen to me and you don't this. And it's like, no. That's actually not what's going on. That's just been added into the mix. And now we have a bonfire happening. It's like, hang on. How am I showing up to this? And am I really understanding how important this is to my partner? Right? Because I'm guessing that you love this man, and there are reasons why you love this man, and there are obviously elements where he's generous and understanding, but there are going to be moments where this really, really matters, and it may look different to you, but you've got to be prepared to come away from your side and understand the other person's. All right? Another word for that is getting over ourselves, seeing if there's another way of seeing this, and remembering that goodwill is the most important thing. When couples focus on goodwill and there is a large pool of it to draw from, people give each other a free pass. They're far more generous and they'll think more about the we. Okay? So it's like, okay, that really matters to you. Can we do something where my boys get some one-on-one time and feel important as well? Something that's just for them. And what are some of the things that we can do as a family, right? And And instead of, I let that happen, I'm not letting it happen again. You just got to understand, when you come from that place, there's no room for the other person to move and no room for you. And you're going to back yourself into a corner, and then you're going to feel resentful and annoyed and frustrated. And he is going to feel guilty about the fact that he wants to spend one-on-one time with his son. Can you see? Nobody wins there. Nobody. But there is always a way around something. Always. Okay. I hope that helps. Okay, we've got a few people saying hi. Hello, Deezer. Hi, Jason. Hi, Rose. I do owe you a message. I'm sorry, honey. It's just the last couple of days have been nuts, but you are on my list. I've seen your messages, and I will be messaging you later on this afternoon. So I'm so sorry about that, Rose. But thank you so much for saying hi. Anyone else out there who wants to jump in and say hi, please do. Love to know where you're from. Okay, so I've got another question here. Hi, Fiona. Thank you so much for the Q&A on Fridays. I really want to learn how to have goodwill. I wonder if you can explain more about the relationship with yourself. I've had a difficult childhood, especially a bad relationship with my father, and I realize that I'm looking for approval of others because of my past. How can I get rid of the feeling that how can I get the feeling that I'm good enough? I have difficulty to have goodwill because of my own brokenness. Okay. Great question. Okay. The first thing that you need to understand is that you're not broken. You are not broken. Nobody is broken. We can feel broken. I get that. All right. We can have moments of feeling broken, and I've certainly felt that way in my past. But we are not, sorry, I don't know what that was. We are not broken. You are not broken. The essence of who we are is love, and nothing and no one can take that away from us. Okay. So the first thing is to realize that you're not broken. And if you have thinking around that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's something you need to believe, right? Thinking can be very, very, very deceptive. Most of what we think is not worth our time or attention. As we say, thought is the greatest con artist on earth. Just because you think it doesn't make it real or true, okay? So you've really got to see that you're not broken, honey. And I know we can feel that way. And I know when we look towards the past, we can find enough evidence to support that, right? This is why looking in the past isn't a great idea. Truly, it's not. You don't find the answer there, okay? We look in the past and we think that that's the reason why we can't connect now, or we haven't this or we haven't that. And I want you to know that every moment of now is fresh. And when you understand the way we work as human beings, you actually see the truth in that every moment of now is fresh. It's a fresh blank canvas, and it is untainted from the past. I know it looks like it is, okay? And I know what I'm saying is probably going to be triggering for some of you. And I truly mean this. I don't mean to dismiss anything that has happened in your past, because everybody's got stuff. Everybody's experienced difficulties, trauma, whether it be from parents, whether it be from, situations, circumstances. Everybody has. But the realization that you are not your past and your past does not make you broken is very, very liberating for people. And it's a very big part of what I teach in Relatable. Straight off the bat, we spend some time looking at that, because you've got to know that. You've got to know it to be true. It's one thing to think something. It's another thing to know something. Okay? So you're not broken. So anyone out there that thinks they're broken, I get it. You feel it at times, and I've definitely felt that way. But there's a difference between feeling something, right, and something being actually true. So first of all, you're not broken, and nothing and no one can break you. But it can certainly look that way. I get it. Okay? Now, once you start looking at life through the lens of something other than I'm broken, a whole new world opens up. Okay? So when we look at something through the lens of I'm broken, we will evidence gather. We will evidence gather. And human beings are amazing at evidence gathering, right? They'll look through the past and they'll think of what happened when they were 5 and what happened when they were 12 and what happened there and what happened there, and go, yep. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, I'm broken, right? Tick, 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 tick. Many people are going through life without even realizing it, going through, ticking things off in their mind, going, yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Yep, there's the proof. Yep, there's the evidence. Yep, 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 yep. Okay? We don't even realize that we're doing it. And then we're living out of the feeling of that. And so then everything becomes tainted. People do not see how much they do this and how automatically they do it, right? So we're bringing something that's tainted that we can't see. See, when you look at something through that lens often enough, you stop seeing it as a lens. It just becomes the way things are, right? You don't realize you're looking through a particular lens. In your mind, it's just the way things are. And nothing ever is the way it is, right? Everything is a reflection of your state of mind. Everything. Which is why you've got to know how to navigate it, okay? To me, this is the missing piece of everything. Knowing how to navigate your own state of mind, your own humanness before you navigate life is life-changing. And this is not what we're taught. We're navigating life without navigating us. And so everything tends to have the same flavor, right? And you keep wondering why. It's the same flavor, the same situations, the same people, the same conversations, the same feeling, the same experience. Why? Because you haven't learned how to navigate you. You navigate you, the flavor changes very, very, very quickly and very, very profoundly. Okay? And as you start to see that in real time in your life, the sense of hope and empowerment is huge. As we feel more hopeful and empowered, thoughts of brokenness don't look so interesting anymore. You become more suspicious of them. You start to see through them. That's when things start to become sustainably different. Like when I say sustainably, long-term sustainably different. And you feel lighter because you're not carrying that heavy mental load. You know, I was working with a client yesterday, and he was saying to me, you know, Fiona, my mind is so much clearer and healthier. I'm making healthier choices with my thinking quite automatically all the time, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. He said, you know, as an example, he's left a long-term relationship that he's been processing and getting over. That relationship broke down earlier this year, and he's been grieving the loss of it. Even though he knows he doesn't want to be there, he's still been grieving the loss of it. And he said, you know, as an example, Fiona, it was her major birthday, I think her 50th birthday last weekend. And normally I'd be there and we would have celebrated that together. And of course I wasn't there. And she had this enormous party with a lot of our mutual friends that I would normally have been hanging out with, that we've spent years and years together, and I wasn't there. And he said, you know, I was okay with that. I was sad about it, but I'm learning through the work that he and I are doing that there's a whole other way of approaching this. And he said, what was so interesting to me in the morning is one of our mutual friends made a Facebook post and had like 40 photos of the party. And he said, you know, the old me, Fiona, before I had this understanding, I would have clicked on that. I would have looked at every photo. And he said, I would have gone down that rabbit hole of, it's so unfair that I'm not there. And I can't believe they're having all that good time and I wasn't invited. And he said, I would have gone down feeling sad and sorry for myself. It would have sat with me for days. And he said, my mind is so much clearer now. And he said, I saw that come up and I just pressed snooze on that friend of mine for a month. So I don't look at it, and I never looked at a single photo. And he said, the difference in my whole day just by making that choice. And he said, I didn't force myself to. It was just so clear what I need to do, because he's learned how important it is to have a clear and healthy mind and how much power you have over that, and the different choices that are available to us. And so he said, I cannot believe the level of well-being I've been in ever since. He said that normally, I'm seeing the difference in myself now. Normally I would have gone down that rabbit hole. Normally I would have taken that on board. And he said, I'm not taking on board other people's stuff. And he said, there's just so much. He said, I've got so much room. And I said, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing when you are not chewing through as much mental load, how much more of you there is available to the people you care about? How much more of you there is available to the people you care about? Now, that's what creates goodwill. Okay? Most people are chewing through so much mental load. There's not enough available, not enough emotionality. available. There's not enough room for anything. So they're short-tempered, they're dismissive, they shut down, they don't listen, they're distracted. And goodwill drops. They're not connected, they're not present, they're not grounded. People don't understand the impact that an enormous amount of mental load has on absolutely everything. And as this client was saying, he said the difference, Fiona, he said, I had a best mate come around the other night who's got going through a really difficult time. And he said, I really noticed I listened. I didn't say, oh, yeah, me too. That happened to me last week, or I did that once. He said, I'm listening. I know the difference between coming from a place of love and wisdom versus ego and fear. He said, I'm so aware when my ego is getting in the way, and I'll go to say something like, no, that's ego. I'm not saying that. I'm so clear. I have so much clarity. So he said, every single relationship in my life is deeper and richer. And he said, especially the one with me. He said, I'm so comfortable in my own skin because I know exactly where I am. I know when I'm coming from wisdom versus ego. I know. That takes a whole lot of mental load. See, when we're coming from ego, we overthink everything and we think of every if, but, why, how, when, who, how come. And we chew through enormous mental load. This is absolutely huge in our relationships in the way we connect. If you are chewing through enormous mental load, and I'm going to say 100% of people that come to me are and do, okay, are chewing through mental load, and they are doing it right now, and they are chewing through, like, it's huge. See, when you've been doing that for a long time, you have no idea that you're even doing it, or you get a sense of it, but you don't understand the price you're paying. So goodwill has an enormous amount to do with mental load. Because when you are not chewing through that mental load, you're calmer, you're more patient, you're more expansive in your thinking, you've got more room for understanding, you ask better questions, you listen without defending. There's less to say, right? You're a lot more present, and people can feel it. People can feel it. And this is why we talk about the fact that, connection has a lot to do with listening and presence. It's not so much about doing, it's about the space you come from. Okay? And it has an incredible effect on the people that you love and also on you. I cannot emphasize this enough. So if you're chewing through a lot of mental load, yes, you're going to find it hard to create goodwill. People are going to feel like, and if you're someone who gets this said to you a lot, I don't really feel like you've got my back. Okay, if someone's telling you that, I just don't really feel like you've got my back. I don't really feel like you listen. I don't feel like you understand. I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why you're being told that is you are chewing through massive amounts of mental load and you don't even know it. Or you do know it and you think the way out is to think more, right? No, it's not. It's to think less, way less. So goodwill and mental load and the amount of them go hand in hand. All right? They go hand in hand. So if you want to know how to chew through less mental load, how to have less on your mind so that you can be present and grounded and show up to people the way that you've always wanted to, so that they can feel you're connected and you're there. This is everything that I teach in Relatable. Okay? Everything that I teach is in there. Okay, everybody, I have to go because I've got a client waiting for me. I really hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next Friday, which will I'm probably going to be 12:30. I'm saying from here on in my time, which is going to be 5:30 Pacific and what is that? 8:30 Eastern, I think. All right, everybody, lots of love to you all. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you next Friday. If you've got a question, send me an email, hello@fionalukis.com.au, and I will answer it for you next week. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.